Hi everybody, this is the ingredients for our fresh harvest pear tart we're about to make. Alright, be back. Hi everybody, this is Miss Penny with another of Miss Penny's favorite foods. You know we're into fall, so this is a harvest pear tart. So we have got pears, and I've halved them because in this particular tart I want the whole integrity of the pear. And I put lemon juice on them so that they wouldn't change colors. So we're about to start. First of all, let's make our dough and get that out the way. Let's roll out the dough. And the dough, I've already prepared it. I always put it in at least an hour or two early, if not longer, so that it has time to rest. Because I told you, all dough is lazy. All dough likes to rest. That's their favorite thing to do. So we're going to roll this out real quick. And then we're going to get busy. Yeah, this is the time of year for pears. This is the perfect time of year. October is when they are their best. And these pears, you can use any pear. I like the Bartlett. The Bartlett is a little less firm and a little more juicy than the Bosc. But I like this for baking. I like the Bosc for baking because it is a little bit more sturdy. So we're using that today. So we're going to make a pear cranberry tart. And a tart is like an open-faced pie. You get to see the fruit, so you try to display it as pretty as you can because, people, they're going to see it. So you tend to want to put some kind of design or pattern with your fruit for that reason. And as I told you, always flour when you're rolling your dough up so that it doesn't stick together when you roll it back out. All right. Now, it's just a clear glass. This is a shallow pie plate, so it works as a tart as well. Traditional tart pans are just about 2 inches high, maybe less, because you just don't have a top crust. So the filling is the star. So we're going to use this, but use whatever pie pan you have or whatever pan you have. Okay. Put a few holes in it because we don't want our dough to rise up as it's baking inside the bottom of the pan. So it's going to look like that. All right, now we're going to arrange our tarts, and I'm putting the fat end down. And I'm going to show you in a minute exactly how I do it. And this one's kind of little. And you try to keep them as best you can, the same size, best you can. This is a big one. It's going right here. And this one is going right here. And this one is going right there. Okay, that's all of our half pears. And this is how I have it arranged. That's how I have it arranged. Okay, so to this, we're almost done. A tart is one of the easiest pies you can make. And you can make a savory one, you can make a sweet one, because pears are at their peak. And these were just so fragrant when I went to the market that I decided a pear tart would be excellent. So, to that, we are going to add our cranberries. Now, because I'm using dried cranberries, as you know, you flour your cranberries as well. Even though they're not going in batter, you still want them to have some substance. So once you do that, you just place them where you want them because it's a pretty tart. It is a pretty tart. So we're going to place them where we want them. And they'll stay there. They will stay there. And I am putting some in the middle and in the cracks. All right. So that is our second step. And like I said, you can arrange these any way you want. This is how I'm doing it. And it's going to look like that. That's how it's going to look. All right, so far so good, right? Okay. So then we have to add our sugar. I've got a half a cup of white sugar and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And I'm just going to mix them together. And then I'm just going to sprinkle them over the top, all over. Because we want them to make juice. So I'm going to take them in my hands because I can have better control if I do it in my hands. Your hands are your best tool. They are by far your best tool. They'll let you know any lumps. They'll let you know exactly where you should put things. You're in total control. And I think for this, I'm not going to use this much. I think this is plenty. So I'm going to say half of this. 1/4 of a cup of sugar and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So that's all I'm going to use of that. I think that's plenty. Now here's a little bit of a trick. This is old school. This goes back to the pioneer days. This goes back to 1700, 1600, 1800. This goes way back. This is what a lot of the people hundreds of years ago, this is how they thickened their pies. We use thickeners such as cornstarch, and they use starch too on some things. But when it came to baking, and this is what my grandmother did too, and she learned this from her mother and her mother. So it comes from a long line of slaves, but just pretty much I think everybody did it during those years. And that is, they take their butter, and they add flour. And as the butter melts, the thickening happens, and you don't have to worry about clumps or anything else. And that's how they did it. They flour their butter. Isn't that something? So this is a very, very old baking technique, but it's a goodie, and it still works. You flour your butter really, really well. And of course it sticks to it. And you want it to stick to your butter. And then as it sticks, put it in. As the flour sticks to your butter, drop it in. It'll thicken it without you having to worry about anything. And this is how they did it hundreds and hundreds of years before us. So this is one of the cool things I learned from my grandmother that just came naturally to her. Okay, so we have to add a little bit of vanilla and about half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon will do it. So we're going to add maybe a little over half a teaspoon. Eyeball it. Now with the almond, it's a little different. Almond, like that. See, if I'd had that in my pear, you wouldn't have tasted anything but almond. So always measure your almond extract before you put it in. So because almond extract can be a bully. It can enhance or it can take over. So you have to watch your almond. It's hard to go wrong with vanilla, but you can definitely go wrong with almond extract. The only other thing I'm going to put in here is a little bit of ginger. And let's see, where is my ginger? Ginger. I'm going to add a little bit of ginger as well. Ginger. Because it is fall, and you want those fall smells. And ginger is good for that. Okay, so now we're going to fold in our dough. We're not trimming it. We're folding it into our tart. And it will give it a rustic look, but that's good. Because it's a tart is a rustic dish. It's a peasant dish. And its beauty is in its simplicity. So it's going to look like that. It's going to look like that. Now, the only last thing we have to do is give it a little egg wash so that our crust comes out beautiful and brown and shiny. So that's what we're about to do now. And basically after this, we are done. We're going to put this in a 350 oven for about 45 minutes. I will let you know when it comes out. And this is our harvest pear and cranberry tart. This is a fall dish. It has all the smells of, I don't know if you are used to a pear tart. Pears have this wonderful, wonderful, distinct aroma. It reminds you of an apple and a little bit of a pumpkin. It has this really great, great, great smell. And it definitely just alerts you to it being fall. So you have to make this pear tart. And like I said, you can't go wrong. It's a rustic dish. So you can, it doesn't have to be beautiful. You don't even have to arrange the fruit if you don't want to. But most people try to, whether you're slicing it and arranging it or keeping the pears whole or half like I'm doing. However you want to do your fruit, that's totally fine. This is it. That is it. And it's going in the oven, 350, about 45-50 minutes. We will see. I'll be back in a minute and I'll show you the finished product. All right. Be back in a sec. All right, this is the pear tart out of the oven. As you can see, it did great, and it has cooled a little. So I'm going to cut it, and hopefully it's set enough so that you can see how it looks when it's cut. And I'm going to cut. It's geared to cut a half a pear for each slice. That's how this particular one is geared. So let's see if it'll come out intact. Either way, we're going to eat it, aren't we? Yes, we are. Okay, so it cut beautifully. And this is the Harvest Pear and Cranberry Tart. Happy fall. Hope you enjoy it. Make it and let me know how you like it. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Be blessed. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.